extreme cold warning has been allowed to expire, but don't let your guard down. A THV 11 weather impact alert is still active due to cold temperatures. And if you've been outside, you know what we're talking about. Meteorologist Nathan Scott is tracking the rest of the day. Nathan, what should we know?
Good afternoon, Jurnee. This morning, we start off the morning with temperatures down to the single digits, and it felt like 7 below zero at Little Rock. It felt colder than that in North Arkansas. And here are the actual air temperatures. We dropped down to 9 in Russellville. 5 was the number in Clinton, 11 in Stuttgart, 14 in Pine Bluff, 13 in Arkadelphia, and 11 at Little Rock. And we did break several records across the state, from Harrison dropping down to 3 below zero, more of the same in Fayetteville. El Dorado broke a record, dropping down to 14. We did not break a record, got close to it here in Little Rock with a temperature of 9 degrees. Now things have started to improve somewhat. Temperatures are warming up slowly but surely, well below freezing still. It's 22 in Little Rock, 19 in Conway, 20 in Stuttgart. And you see all the white there, that is the snow and sleet being seen from space. There's not a lot of clouds out there, lots of sunshine, and we're also contending with that wind still from the northeast, about 10 to as high as 15 miles per hour. So if you're going to be out and about, you need to bundle up. Hats, gloves, scarves, all that will be needed. It feels like 13 in Little Rock, feels like 9 in Stuttgart, feels like 10 in Clinton, and it feels still like below zero in Harrison. So here's your feels like forecast with that THV 11 weather impact alert continuing throughout the rest of your Thursday. We're going to extend this into Friday as well because temperatures will stay below freezing, but there you see, it will not be warmer than 20 degrees in terms of your feels like forecast. Highs today, 27 is expected high in Little Rock. You could get close to freezing in Arkadelphia, but staying well into the 20s in northeast Arkansas. Warmer weather is on the way just in time for the weekend. I'll have that forecast coming up.
Thank you, Nathan. Well, this just in from the U.S. Senate floor. Former Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell has opted not to seek re-election. McConnell is choosing to give up his seat after a lengthy political career. He's won election to Congress 7 times and says his current term will be his last. First responders have increased their manpower for winter emergencies. Extra workers with MEMS have been stationed across high-risk areas. Their goal is to create faster response times. So far, a number of accidents have been reported in light of the wintry mix, and it's important to remember safety precautions during such conditions. And that's the warning being issued by MEMS operations manager.
What you will see is an increase in falls. Ice is slick, so people do fall. Traffic accidents, cold exposure during this time, we have seen an increase in all of those types of calls.
He adds, if you find yourself in an emergency, don't hesitate to call for help. And several school districts have closed for the day. The free day, however, should be spent somewhere inside. That's because we have a few more days of brutal cold to endure, and ignoring safety measures could have serious consequences. Catherine Rowley explains.
The biggest thing is we want to cover those super sensitive areas. We want to cover those extremities really well.
With temperatures below freezing, frostbite is a concern for anyone outside. Dr. Josh Lyon with the All for Children's Pediatric Clinic has tips for parents to keep your little ones safe and sound.
So frostbite most likely to occur in places like our ears, our nose, our chin, our cheeks, our fingers, and our toes.
Staying warm and dry are key to minimizing frostbite. On top of that, limiting the amount of time outside goes a long way.
You also want to dress those kids in layers, not just for warmth, but because getting wet is one of the primary things that are going to increase your risk for frostbite. So if we can keep our kids in layers, we can keep that moisture out.
While gloves, hats, and scarves can keep your face and fingers warm, having the right shoes is vital to preventing frostbite on your toes.
Finding shoes that are going to keep our feet as waterproof as possible around those layers and keep as much moisture out as possible, or just being willing to do a short period outside if we don't have those shoes, come inside, dry everything out, or change our shoes, and then get right back out to play.
Skin isn't the only area that should be covered. It's also important to cover eyes when snow and ice are on the ground.
Increases your risk for sunburns during those periods, increases your risk for your eyes to have some damage. So keeping kids in sunglasses, waiting on even if it's a little colder, a little bit of cloudy weather.
If you or your child start to experience severe frostbite, it's important to thaw yourself out correctly. or you risk doing even more harm.
You want to watch for blisters as they reheat. And you want to watch for that numbness and that tingling to not be going away. And any of those things are things to say, let somebody take a look at it.
We now want to share something caught on camera. The lines have been ringing off the hook for tow companies, and for that reason, they're asking for your help to follow their request. As stated before, when there's a number of motor vehicle related incidents statewide, tow trucks are among the services called for help. When you see them assisting in an accident, move over and allow them space to do so. It helps keep them from experiencing close call situations.
I wish more people would spend more time looking at their surroundings and preparing like something's going to happen, whether it does or not, but be prepared for it, and that will eliminate a lot of accidents.
Any vehicle that may have been left on the side of the road could be removed today. So again, use caution if you see trucks working. A war of words erupted between President Trump and the Ukrainian president. A special aide to the president met with Volodymyr Zelensky, and it comes as tensions remain high between the two world leaders. Natalie Brand reports.
President Trump's special envoy to Ukraine, retired General Keith Kellogg, met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky Thursday, with a public feud between the U.S. president and Zelensky escalating.
I'd like to find out all the money that we've been sending to Ukraine. Where is it?
President Trump claimed Ukraine talked the U.S. into sending $350 billion for the war with Russia, but government data shows U.S. funding at about $183 billion, the vast majority appropriated by Congress. On social media, Trump also called Zelensky a dictator without elections. In 2019, Zelensky was elected by a landslide. Now elections there are suspended because of the war Russia started. In Kharkiv, Ukrainians defended Zelensky. This woman said, "I support Ukraine. I support our president. What Trump said is nonsense." Following talks this week between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his Russian counterpart, the Trump administration is trying to push back on concerns from European allies that Ukraine has been left out of the negotiations. President Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz, appeared on Fox News this morning.
We are consulting our allies. We're consulting the Ukrainians. There's a term for this in diplomacy. It's called shuttle diplomacy, because bringing everybody to the table at once just hasn't worked in the past.
The Trump administration is also pushing Ukraine to sign off on a proposal to give the U.S. access to the country's rare earth minerals. President Zelensky rejected the initial offer, saying it would need to be tied to security guarantees for Ukraine. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, here locally, the state legislature remains in session. One bill in particular raised a heated debate even before the winter weather moved in. As lawmakers discussed Senate Bill 207 on Tuesday, those in opposition of the bill raised into question the significance of the change imposed. Inside the bill sits a proposed amendment requiring canvassers disclosure of petition penalties.
I don't think that we're doing anything unfair by voting on a bill we've already heard essentially 6 hours of testimony on.
But the other side of it is that people feel like they're being shut out of their own democracy. And that is a lot more serious, I think, than the consequences to waiting until Monday for a vote.
Even after that debate, a motion to delay the vote had failed. Senate Bill 207 will soon go before the House floor before it arrives to the governor's desk. A new drama series is taking its place in daytime TV. Meet the Family you'll soon be seeing plenty of ahead at 12:18.
Around the region this afternoon, it feels like a frozen tundra out there, but things will improve. Look at your wind chill forecast. Feeling like the single digits Friday morning, but then by next week, it's going to be much more comfortable out there, and you're going to love the daytime highs that I have in my 7-day forecast coming up.